Hello fellow board gamers, my name is Marcel, you know me as your lord of the board games, and today I just have a simple question for you. Does anybody know anything about the French Revolution? I assume not many people do, which is really sad, I think, because the French Revolution was one of the most important chapters in Europe's history. Thank goodness we now finally have a board game that is dedicated to this specific period of history. With this game I'm talking about, you will get to know the political factions, you will feel the pressure of the Paris mob, you will realize how close the revolution came to being crushed by the Austrians and the Prussians, and finally you'll realize what this political fighting was all about. Maybe in the end you'll have a date with beautiful Madame Guillotine. Of course you already saw it. I am talking about the new upcoming board game from Sound of Drums. It's 1793 Patriots and Traitors. As the real revolution 230 years ago in this game, players will be changing the society. What? Changing the society? I'll show you the board. In the game, players have the possibility to change the game rules and even alter this board you see here. Every time new laws are decreed, the game rules are changed a little bit, so that when the game ends after 21 game rounds, the game will be completely different from the game you started with. But of course, not everybody wants to see changes in the rules. The players will be playing one of 5 different political groups, let's call it factions. And it's obvious that conservatives will not want to change the game rules too much. On the other side of the spectrums, there are the radicals who will exactly want to do this. So it's a political tug of war between the players. Now you might think, politics? How can politics be fun? But give me a minute. Patriots and Traitors is a fresh, a vibrant, and it's absolutely not complex game. You do not believe me? Give me a minute. There are only 4 actions in the game on your turn. You can play a card. I show you some of the cards here. You can discard a card or you can activate a leader. The cards, here you see in the background a picture which I took at Essen Fair. The cards you play are multifunctional and they offer the players many choices. I have to question myself, do I want to play a card to influence, to place influence on the board? Do I want to buy currency, or do I want to move a general or assassinate an activated leader? Speaking about leaders, of course we will meet the most famous revolutionaries of the French Revolution, which means Marat, Robespierre, Lafayette, and even our friend Napoleon, which you saw a few seconds ago. Each player has their own specific leaders, which they can activate, which they will offer specific benefits, but of course once they are activated they can also be arrested, assassinated or guillotined. So the question is, will you want to activate them immediately and take the risk of losing them, or will you want to wait with him for the second half of the game? So in Patriots and Traitors we have a mixture of laws, leaders, areas on the board that will constantly change the rules of the games, offering you and your fellow players tons of combinations and possibilities. Beware that the game end, here you see another sideboard which is very important, prematurely. One of the ways that this can happen is that the Austrians and the Prussians, I mentioned that in the beginning, managed to get to Paris and crush the revolution. And in this case, all players will lose the games. So we have some kind of semi-cooperative or semi-competitive mechanism of the players, because players can activate their generals, so they will be able to push back the Austrians and the Prussians, but be careful that the royalists are there too. And the royalists come in as the fifth faction of the game. I talked about the 4-player version of the game, but there are the royalists, and if you play with 5 players, it becomes a, let's call it, one versus many game. In this situation, there is one player, the royalist player, who wants to make sure that the revolution fails. For instance, he will be blocking and bribing the other players. He will be voting against certain laws, or he will incite revolts in the provinces you saw. So in a 5-player game, you do have a totally different game. So jumping back to the GameFound campaign, which I will of course link in the video description, the campaign is about to launch. Depending on when you watch the video, I will definitely join the campaign because I'm a sucker for historical board games, and in this game, which is a card-driven game, I love that from other different games like the Coin series. Here you can already follow the campaign, which will grant you a €5 discount. I hope I could generate some interest for you. If you do have any questions about the game, feel free to leave me a comment. I will ask Uwe von Sound of Drums, with which I already did a interview, which I will link to you. I will ask him if Jason, which is the designer of Patriots and Traitors, if he is ready to have an interview with me as well. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you will not miss any of my future videos. Thank you for attending and watching my video. Up to the next time, Marcel, your Lord of the Board Games.